All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is one of my custom D&D games set in my weird, messed up homebrew campaign setting, and the players below me are the players that probably think they need to find a way to oust me from power so that they can take back control of their lives. And it will never happen because I am all powerful. Hi, everybody.
For a couple hours on a Wednesday.
Yeah, and every other Saturday morning. Kind of. Not really, because my Rome's players don't respect me at all. But as I don't think most of my D&D players respect me at all. But anyway, announcements. There was the Nintendo Direct yesterday, I think. I was on the Zelda Universe Twitch channel and reacted to it, and we had lots of fun. There's a YouTube story with me reacting to something. I can't even remember what it was I reacted to in that story. But yeah, so if you want to see me reacting to, as the rest, there was 4 people on the call. Front Mission comes up and I'm like, oh, cool. And I'm talking about Front Mission. They could care less. And they're going on in this conversation. I'm just going, oh, cool. That's going to be cool. That's cool. And by the end of the announcement, they go, oh, yeah. Looks like only one of us cares about Front Mission and the rest of us could care less. I'm like, yep. But it's giant robots and strategy RPGs. So that was fun. And apparently, if you are into farming RPGs, the Nintendo Switch is where it's at. Because they announced 6 of them.
Yep.
Which was impressive. I'm still relatively certain that Tears of the Kingdom is going to have a farming section. And then while we were watching the Bayonetta reveal, I just kept inserting things now. So now Bayonetta puts down her guns and picks up her hoe. And then it goes, and then you have to fight these demons called homunculus. And the only way you can kill them is by growing their favorite pumpkin. And I just kept, so yes, Bayonetta is now a farming simulator. In case you were all were wondering. This is how my brain works, folks. I'm sorry that this is the way that it is, but that's just it's the way it is. I would love for it to not be. But I do not control my brain. So, other than that, I don't think there's anything real fancy. Today, I believe, is it today? Yeah, today is the last day to get your feedback in for the first 1D&D play test material. I think tomorrow might be. It goes to the 15th. So the 15th is tomorrow. So theoretically, if you want to give them feedback, that would be the time to do it. Now,
It's a quick 21 pages on the UA currently, on what's currently out.
mm-hmm. Now, don't you worry if you miss this one. They're going to have a year and a half of this. So, if you don't feel strongly enough about anything to give feedback on it this time, you can wait. Probably next month they will release another playtest packet for us to look at, and hopefully that one will have enough for us to actually playtest something, because what they gave us this time is interesting, but is nowhere near enough to playtest anything.
I like the concepts, and they were already
Yeah.
asking. I can't imagine how many, because like a lot of the stuff asked the question is, how much of this have you play tested?
No. Yeah. I
None.
went on the thing. It's like, how do
None.
you
None.
like? Do you want us to just playtest it? Okay, monsters can't crit anymore.
Inspiration. I think inspiration could be play tested, but
It, I'm interested to see where it goes. You know.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, it was one of those things where it was like, this isn't a playtest packet. This is a, hey, do you think our ideas are cool? Which is valuable stuff. It's been so long since the D&D Next playtest, I don't remember what the early test packets looked like, because by the time I got into the playtest, their test packets were effectively like the starter rules. And they had generally between 5 and 10 levels of like half a dozen classes in there that you could actually playtest. And they had monsters that you could playtest them against. Like you could actually playtest things. So I'm hoping that we get something like that. I want to see one class. I just want to see their take on one class for this one D&D, just to see what their thought process is. Because if they're not really changing the classes at all, then the rules changes they made are going to be bonkers. And
yeah, it's going to be interesting because they're saying that it's supposed to be backwards compatible with all the stuff you've done before, and it's supposed to work with fifth edition. And
well, technically, backwards compatible means you can use fifth edition stuff,
yeah,
with the new rules. Not that you can use one D&D stuff in fifth edition stuff. Because I don't think it's going to be possible for you to take a one D&D character and use it with a bunch of 5th edition characters, because I think the rules are going to be too different for that. But I do think it's going to be possible to take a 5th edition character and... Oh, God, my brain hurts. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. It's going to work one way and not the other is what I'm saying. So, we'll see. It'll be interesting. I still think it's D&D 5.5. I sincerely doubt one D&D is going to stick any better than D&D Next did. Congrats to the marketing department for not learning from their mistakes.
And then also not being consistent, like right out the gate. Like they won D&D, and then your marketing is D&D1 hashtag, and botch that. It's like, I don't know why.
Well, that was just hilarious as hell, because D and Done is the greatest marketing. Like that, I think was a stroke of genius. If they just called it D&D1, and then be like, "Yep, it's D and Done now." I think that would have been I think that had a significantly better chance of sticking than one D&D, because people still call the Xbox One the Xbone. Like, it was a massive marketing mistake that worked for no reason other than gamers have the minds of 7-year-olds.
Yeah, but you also just see it in text form. It's like,
I mean, it's
pretty glaring.
Like X-Bone wasn't nearly as funny as the myriad of jokes that they made referencing the word bone. And yeah, like it turned into its own thing. I do not think one D&D is going to be anywhere near as useful. D and Done might have been. We'll see. Like I said, I think we will get a much better... Like, this first thing was cool to look at. I think we'll get a much better idea of where the direction is going to be in the next playtext packet. Whether that's next month or further down the line. I don't know what their plans are as far as release schedules, but every other month would be nice. Technically, I was kind of hoping for every month. But that might be a little bit... Because Unearthed Arcana used to come out once a month. So I was kind of hoping for that, but it's not looking like they're going to do that. And to be perfectly honest, if they want to get feedback and actually use it, once a month would be pushing it a bit.
Yeah. They have to balance it out by their play testing and designing and finishing up. So I'm hoping they have this all. I'm sure they have it all planned since the majority of the work has been done.
Yeah, and that's another thing that I'm a little bit iffy about, because D&D Next was such a unique experiment that they tried, where they created a system, but they created it in a way and released it in a way that they understood that what they were putting out there was not what they were going to get back. One D&D feels a little bit more like, well, we've built this system and we're going to let you look at it, but we've already made our decisions. So we're just going to see if you like the decisions we've already made, as opposed to we're looking for feedback to help turn this into something good. It's just the feeling I'm getting from it. There's nothing more than just a feeling right now. But so we'll see if the next playtest material should start kind of giving us the idea of whether or not they've already built this game, and they're just using this as a marketing ploy, like a lot of big companies use early access for now, or if this actually, if our playtest is actually going to be used to create.
Well, I mean, if their track record's anything like, when they would do previous UA before, the announcements, like, I mean, I'm hoping that it will be something analogous to that, because they're like, UA, it's always been broken. There's a reason for that. It's playtest, and whether they're released, the changes are good, have been good for
Yes
the most
and
part.
no. Like, the further it got, the more you started seeing UA was effectively pre-release. Like, I remember seeing quite a few classes that between Unearthed Arcana and them actually showing up in a book were nearly identical. Or they would give a UA for something for that was going to show up in a book in 2 months, which is nowhere near enough time. Like, the book was already printed by the time the Unearthed Arcana came out. So more recently, I've been seeing some signs that they're kind of moving away from we like your feedback to, oh, we can use this as free advertising, which is a useful marketing strategy. And it can be a very effective marketing strategy. It's just untruthful. And one of the biggest things that will come and bite you in the ass in business is thinking you can trick your customers, and kind of underestimating the intelligence of your customer base, because that is a surefire way for a really good product to get completely demolished, is if people feel like they've been lied to. So we'll see what happens. This may just be my depression, doom and gloom, deciding that it doesn't like the fact that something cool is happening. But anyway, you guys want to play some D&D? We're only 40 minutes late,
I guess.
So it's time for us.
We're all here.
Yeah. We're all here. We might as well. It's not like there's a dragon or anything waiting for us. So now it's time for us to return to the legend of the Three Kingdoms. Scornmote has changed since you last visited. In place of the thriving, holy city devoted to the Dark Lady, it is now a crater with a dragon living in the center. The dragon demands to tribute. It doesn't explain exactly what tribute is, and it seemingly randomly, will decide some tribute is worthy and some is not. The former members of the clergy have apparently become the new mouthpieces of the dragon and have taken over the duty of collecting tribute. Now that you all have returned to Scornmote and talked with some of your former allies, you came up with a plan. Relwyn, a devotee of the Dark Lila Lady, has been volunteered to be your spy, to work his way into this new order of the Dark Lady to find out exactly what is happening with not only the tributes, but the people that have been vanishing under mysterious circumstances. So when we last left, I know it's been a little bit of time because we had a fifth Wednesday last month. Where is... There we go. Just looking for the right music. Remind me, when we left last time, I believe you guys were still in kind of the hideout.
We were in the hideout. We just got done talking to Portent about his daughter Felicity.
Mm-hmm.
Argenta and Relwyn, something occurred to Relwyn, and he's wanting to check in just to make sure about the other people that have gone missing in regards to if they were like Portent's daughter, were they particularly skilled in any particular profession or ability or passion that they were passionate about.
So, at this point, Relwyn has returned to the group and has filled you all in on his little theory. I think is right where we ended last time.
Yeah.
So, at this particular point, it's getting later in the day. You can see the people around the camps or the cave are effectively kind of getting ready for like the evening meal, and they're starting to kind of get sleeping arrangements made, just because of the makeshift way that this whole thing is set up. Is you kind of have to plan where people are going to sleep ahead of time in order to have enough beds and enough spaces for when bedtime does come. So that being said, what would you all like to do? Please don't all speak at once.
I think I would have, like you said, I think Argent and I would have come back. He would share his pondering about on this particular subject with the rest of the group, and then maybe asking the sheriff if you think, maybe asking them is like maybe thinking, do we think we should ask the sheriff?
It's worth a shot.
Yeah. He might know if the rest have some sort of skill.
Well, if anyone would know about missing people, it might be. I'm hoping it's the sheriff.
Yeah.
Of course, unless of course it's Red. She seems to be.
Yeah, Red might know too. Where we can find like if maybe we the sheriff should be able to tell us who was missing. Give us some idea, maybe we can find the right one at them.
I don't know. Sometimes I think because I think I'm kind of wondering if the tribute is a dodge, a con, in and of itself. I mean, does it make? I don't. You all seem to have far more experience. I believe, if I recall correctly, you fought a. I've heard you fought a dragon. Does it make sense that a dragon seeking tribute doesn't at least, I don't know, expound a little bit?
It does seem odd.
I mean,
Unless
we fought a dragon, but it just kind of appeared and attacked us. We didn't really interact with it.
mean, I know dragons don't really follow the my stuff for advancement, but when I have an idea about dragon behavior, that
Um, none of you would be like particularly specialized in knowing about dragons unless, for whatever reason, uh, Argenta, dragons are not your favored enemy, are they?
I don't believe so.
So none of you would have kind of intimate knowledge of dragon activities, especially since in the Three Kingdoms themselves, dragons are extremely rare. For the most part, dragons have not been seen in a few hundred years. The northern kingdom of Isengard is known for their dragoons and their kind of mastery of digit dragons. And as far as as the rest of the world is aware, the only dragons that they haven't hunted to extinction are the ones that they have subjugated. But the kind of stories and kind of folklore of dragons is dragons like two things. They like eating and they like hoarding things. And the majority of dragons, not all of them, but the majority of Digidragons tend to hoard shiny things. Gold is very common, magic items, things of value. Dragons have an inherent lust for it. Beyond that, you guys don't know a whole lot about dragons because it's been so long since a dragon has been seen in the Three Kingdoms. And to be honest, the last dragon that was seen in the Three Kingdoms was actually seen in Fenrish about 3 rulers ago, because the ruler that got crowned at that point got crowned not because they won in the arenas, which is normally how a leader is crowned in Fenrish, but because they killed an ancient dragon. And they were known by the honorific Dragon Slayer, and ruled for about 40 years under that title. So the current rulers of the Blood Pack, who were again a group of they were a gladiatorial group that actually went through every single arena and won, and eventually got the normal way of doing it. So yeah, so the you guys would know relatively little about dragons beyond folklore, and that's the folklore you'd be aware of. Is they like hoarding stuff, and as long as it has value, they tend to be happy with it. Though different dragons value different things. There's some of the metallic dragons that tend to be a little bit more focused on things that aren't monetarily valuable, but are more useful in their value. Things like knowledge, or some of them will focus on works of art and their ability to kind of instill emotions in people and things like that. But your traditional kind of chromatic dragons are, if it's shiny and expensive, I want it. So what do you all want to do?
And ask the sheriff. Well, shall we ask the sheriff?
Think so.
So as you guys go over to kind of the little staging area that he has for the few deputies that he still has here, most of them are in the town, acting like they know what they're doing. He has this kind of real small staging area, which consists of like a desk and a few chairs and a few stools that have been turned into makeshift workstations and stuff like that. And as you come over, you can see the sheriff is talking to kind of two deputies as he's writing things down on like 3 different things. And he kind of sees you come over, and he just kind of nods to his deputy. He's like, well, you go and do what we talked about, and I think I'm going to have another interesting conversation here. So, my friends, I heard one of you might have had a conversation with the old Portent.
Well, news certainly travels quick. I guess that's to be expected.
Well, when there's a lack of walls, you'd be surprised how fast news travels. Even faster when it's bad. This news seemed to be neutral. I mean, you're still standing there. You don't seem to have a limp or anything, so obviously it must have gone better than I would have expected.
We seem to be on good terms with him.
That's good. The more friends that you can make at this particular juncture, the better. Despite the fact that we have a common enemy, it is incredibly surprising exactly how unfriendly some people are in our little hideout here.
Well, is that playable?
You make a valid point, Lillian. So, to what do I owe the pleasure of a conversation before dinner?
Everyone will just look and guess like, well, I guess I'm. It's my theory. I'm just currently working on a bit of a theory, Sheriff. Hopefully, I don't take too much of your time with all things considered. We're planning. The people that have gone missing, I was wondering. I don't expect a detailed list of any kind, of course. I think that'd be silly given such short notice. But I'm guessing you would be the man who might possibly know about the majority of the people that have gone missing. Would that be fair to say?
Oh, I mean, I guess most of the disappearances are reported to one of my deputies, and then they get to me. Well, here. And you see him kind of rifling through a bunch of papers. All right, here we go. And he gets a decently thick stack of papers. This is everything I've got on him. What particularly did you want to know about them?
One question before that on the people themselves. Did anyone ever report about the people who noticed who reported the missing? Did they ever report anything about charged, funny-smelling air, like like after a lightning storm, or a buzzing sound of indeterminate source? Anyone ever mentioned anything like of those 2 particular things?
Not that I can remember. And that's a unique enough situation that I think that would have been something I would have written down. I can look through, but off the top of my head, I don't remember anyone giving that particular description. To be perfectly honest, most of them didn't realize these people were missing until they'd been gone for a few days. Portent was, well, he keeps a much closer eye on his daughter than most do in this town, so...
So all the other ones were reported much later in their discovery, like I'm guessing a day at most, or minimum, I should say.
With everything that's been happening recently, it's well, people were going missing left and right, and then they'd just show up a day later just because they'd gotten lost or they'd ran away from the giant dragon that had come in. So we had tons of reports of people that were missing. We didn't really pay them much mind till, well, a few of them just never turned up again. So I'd say, on average, when someone would go missing, they would have been missing for at least 2 days, if not 3 or 4. Like I said, Portent was a bit strange since he knew pretty much exactly when she was gone, according to him, which which we all found a bit strange, to say the least. Anyone that's that close with the kinfolk, well, they've got other problems that they got to deal with.
Now you quit people, my friend, you mentioned that people that have to go missing and get lost.
Well, go ahead.
What kind of, how much do you think is different than those?
Well, for the first, I'd say, week that the dragon was here, everyone was missing. We didn't know anything that was going on. We had no idea where anyone was. There was a bunch of houses that had been destroyed in the rubble. Quite a few people fled when the dragon came around, and then your friend did that whole thing with the ice that I thought was very interesting, but scared the bejesus out of most people. So, yeah, most people just kind of went for the hills, went for the forest, and ran away. And then when we realized we still had a town that was no longer our own, we started effectively doing an inventory, and that's when we started noticing, I'd say, the first disappearances about a week after everything was when we reported our first one missing. Now, a few of the people that went missing, they did eventually turn up, or bits of them eventually did turn up. But I'd say we've got about 4 or 5, and we've never found pieces of them like the rest of them. So wherever they're missing, they seem to be whole.
Well,
If you want to know about him, let's see. I've got. He's dead. He came back. He's just a bastard. He was. Okay, so the ones that I've got paperwork for right here. There's a little girl. Her name is Lizel, and she went missing about a week past, and her dad's name is Edsel, and he's still in the town. He's not here, so you'd have to go talk to him. Then there was let's see, there was Epoch. There we go. We've got Epoch. He was a man in his 20s. No one could quite tell exactly what he did. Didn't really have much kinfolk, but the person that reported him missing was a sweetheart of his, a woman by the name of Wilhelmina. They'd had kind of an on and off again relationship, and after everything happened, he just didn't seem to turn up again, and she thought that was weird. Then we had yes, this one was strange. There was Klein was the gentleman's name. He was just old as you could be. We figured he was dead for the longest time, and turned out he wasn't. He was just missing, apparently, because we never found hiding a hair of him. But his granddaughter was the one that actually reported it to us. Jasmine is the girl's name. She's actually around here somewhere. She's helping to spoon out supper for people if you go over there. her name's Jasmine, and she has mentioned that her grandfather had gone missing. About 4 days ago is when we got the report. So that was another one that was kind of strange because she knew within about a day of him being gone that he was gone. Because they were kind of close. They didn't live together, but she would check on him every day and bring him food and things like that. Because he was older than dirt. Obviously couldn't do anything himself. So, yeah, he's gone. I think that's all the records I've got right now. I know there was one more that went missing, but I never got the records for him. It was reported to one of my deputies, and well, eventually we found most of him, and the report wasn't with that part of him. We assume the report must be with the bits that we ain't found yet.
Oh.
If I can ask, what's the interest with the missing folk?
Well, it's just that they're missing. Why were they taken? I'm wondering, and it's just current theory, and so it's only been a handful of people that have gone
Well, there have been more that
permanently missing, nothing been found.
There have been probably about 2 or 3 dozen that have been reported missing, but like I said, we will eventually find bits and pieces of them somewhere, and it's very obvious what's happened to them. There are bite marks and scorch marks on them.
Okay, so there are dozens more.
Yeah, but they're all gone. These particular ones, though, just never turned up. There's been nothing to indicate they've been eaten or that they ran away or anything like that. They just, every one of them, the life that they was living just stopped when they disappeared. You know, if they were to run away, well, they would have packed something or taken something with them. But no, they just, a lot of these people, we were able to find jobs that they were in the middle of doing. You know, supper, you know, the stock pot boiling over until it was empty and scorched. Things like that. These people were in the middle of doing things and just were gone.
And the most recent one was an old man. You mentioned that he couldn't do a lot for himself. I'm assuming
Well,
that he couldn't get out and walk away
it would have been
either.
it would have been impressive if he did.
Yeah.
That one was interesting because he had this thing. He for lack of a better phrase, he liked to play with himself, particularly dragon chess. And
Roland goes, oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
and he would have these impressive games. I mean, I watched him play once, and I mean, he was so good at this game that it looked like he was facing off against another master of the game. And the moves that he would make were really, really good. I mean, I'm not a particularly great player of the game, but I understand it enough to be able to recognize when someone's really good at it. And he was amazing.
And
But
I'm sorry, who was this?
This is the old man.
The old man. Okay. Klein.
Klein. There we go. That's his name. But when his daughter or granddaughter came up to look at him, he had a game that was half finished, and he didn't leave his games half finished. He always finished them. It was remarkable. He could play an entire game in less than 10 minutes. Like, the man was absolutely a genius in that particular area. Everything else, he was dumb as an old boot. But
Oh, that was actually going to be my next question. What is deadly maybe is everything is the but you already said that, so.
well, he lived on the outskirts of town. If y'all want to, you could probably get to his house without too much difficulty of anyone seeing you. He was real far out, and yeah, he did nothing but he stayed in that little hut of his 95% of the day. He didn't do his own shopping. He didn't do anything. His granddaughter brought him everything. He just played with himself.
I look at moment. How does this back into your feelings?
Well, maybe you can see. Well, about the other two people who are missing, I just want to make sure. Excuse me, 1 second. Sorry. The other two that are missing, I don't know, like this, or if anything sticks out in regard to the little girl or Epoch or anyone else. The people that have seem to have gone permanently missing but not found in parts. Did they excel at anything in particular? They were good at a particular job, or anything they were passionate about and good at, skilled at?
You'd have to talk to their kinfolk. I didn't know them that well, and most of the descriptions we got were physical, so we could find them, not so much what their favorite pastime was.
Well, the people that were missing, like, if they were laborers, skilled, set
Yeah.
apprentices, builders, blacksmiths, as an example, or bookkeepers, or
To my knowledge, I don't particularly know exactly what they did. Like I said, if you talk to the ones that reported them missing, you'd have a little bit better time. And he goes and he really, really quickly makes a very basic sketch of the city. And he goes, well, here's where that old man's house was, and here's where that girl that lived with her daddy, they live right here, and that's where he still is. He doesn't know anything about this. To be perfectly honest, he was never a very pleasant person to be around. And well, when his daughter gone up and gone missing, that was kind of it for him. And he's just a very unpleasant person to be around. And then, like I said, Jasmine's over there if you want to talk to her. Anything else I can help you with?
Nothing else comes to mind, unless anyone else has anything.
No.
And Wilhelmina, forgot about her. She actually works at the tavern. So if you can find some way to get in there, tavern itself is near the outskirts of the town. It's a little bit more centrally located, but you might be able to sneak someone in there. I don't know where her residence is in particular. She tends to be rather secretive about that, but if you wanted to talk to her, that'd be the best place to find her.
The tavern is that did you Verizon?
I didn't get the last part of that, sorry.
Did you Verizon?
No one's quite sure exactly what she did there, to be honest. Red was aware of her, seemed to have a fondness for her, but as far as who she actually worked for, that's been a bit of a point of discussion around town recently. And not so recently.
Oh, so if you don't mind me asking,
Sorry. What was it?
how, so if you don't mind me asking,
Well, to be perfectly honest, I don't quite know. She would be at the tavern. Sometimes she'd get people drinks, and other times she wouldn't. Sometimes she'd be behind the counter, and other times she wouldn't. And sometimes she'd go with customers up to the rooms, if you get what I'm saying, and sometimes she wouldn't. But she never seemed to have a job title or anything like that. She just always seemed to be there, and most of the time, if you ever made the assumption that she did any of those things and went up to her, say asked for a drink, to go up to her and go, hey, why don't you pour me an ale? She'd look you straight in the eye, saying, what in the hell makes you think that I'm that kind of woman? She'd slap you across the face, and then she'd go over and find someone to laugh at you with her. She's a very strange woman, but like I said, Red took a liking to her, never kicked her out of her tavern or anything like that, so.
oh, keep it red still around and then she go back?
Well, Red's got an establishment to run. It's getting close to dinner time, so she's probably there right now. She'll be back for our meeting tomorrow. Anyway, as much as this has been an absolute blessing from you all, I would really like to eat something before I fall over from famine. So,
Yes, of course. Thank you for your time.
hope y'all can figure out exactly what in the hell's going on.
You assume, man.
And he wanders off to the food line.
Well, so much for that theory.
Whoa, not the theory.
Well, I mean, it was a kind of a quick idea. I thought there might be something to there. There probably is. It's just not what I thought it was.
Maybe it's not the theory wrong. Maybe it's we have you that he doesn't really know. We have one person that really shows that really, one person that really shows that the cat maybe
There's probably also
maybe
just there's probably just this thread there. I'm just not seeing it. I don't know.
everyone who will be there. I say we wait and not go to the tavern tonight. Just wait for Red to come here. And we can talk to Red tomorrow.
I suppose. I guess we also don't know what hours the tavern keeps, but if people are getting ready to turn in, regardless, we only have a set amount of time anyway, unless there's something else anyone else wants to do.
Maybe I do, but not till after we
Oh, well, I guess, should we just turn in then and see what we discuss tomorrow?
I think so. I mean, I don't really have anything that I think we can do.
Yeah. I mean, before I could, I will go and see if I can meet up with him when he offers.
Okay. For the rest of you, is there anything you want to do before bedding down for the night?
Nothing comes to mind for me personally.
Okay, so Lillian, you do you remember exactly where she said she was going to meet you, or did I say that at all?
So you told me where she lived,
Okay,
but that was it.
so let's pretend she did give you a spot to meet.
Alright,
Um, and because she has to kind of keep up
yeah,
appearances in the town, it wasn't in the cave proper. She was basically asking you to meet her at kind of a halfway point between
yeah.
the cave proper and the town. So when you get to the designated meeting spot, you seem to be a bit early because she is not there. Anything you want to do while you wait?
I'll keep a look out the I notice anything
Okay.
beyond the work.
All right. Go ahead and make me a perception check then.
Um, uh, that was six total.
So, the particular place that you guys decided to meet is kind of uh, a it's a tree kind of surrounded by a little bit of hills, so that it's kind of hard for anyone far away to be able to see anyone that's there. It's a really nice meeting space. Um, that being said, you are a little bit too enwrapped with just the tree itself and everything, the thing around you, and the fact that you didn't even know this tree existed, that you are kind of oblivious to everything else going on. And you don't realize how much time is passed. And you eventually kind of feel this chill on your skin as the wind picks up just a little bit. You realize you've been out here for 3 hours, and she still hasn't showed up. It is now very, very. It's past twilight because you were supposed to meet around sunset,
yeah,
and it is now well beyond to the twilight. The moon itself is new right now, and so it's incredibly dark where you are. And yeah, she seems to have just not showed up.
um, even though I feel bad for that,
Mhm.
can I kind of know that even I noticed that older,
Sure.
that moment?
Um, there's no scent of the air that seems out of place here. you do notice that you're not super far away from the cave itself, and from kind of being a blood hunter, you know the smell of smoke travels an amazingly long distance. So you are kind of impressed with the fact that as soon as you get out of the cave, you smell no smoke, nor anything cooking. So whatever they've done to that cave works really well. But beyond that, there's no scent of anything here.
Now, you told me where she lives.
Yeah, I mean, you guys haven't had a ton of times to converse, but she probably would. Again, you lived in the city for
Yeah.
9 months. She probably would have, when she was going, oh yeah, this is where I'm staying now, because you both lived in the church
Yeah.
before. So she would have at least kind of casually mentioned, oh, by the way, this is where I'm staying now. The place that she is staying is actually relatively close to the crater now. But it was a home that the former inhabitants were killed, and so she just she needed a place to stay. It was open, so it was effectively she inherited it through squatting rights. Yepers. So yeah, that's but it's pretty dead center in this city, and in particular, one of the main reasons why she was there is it also is somewhat used by the rest of the kind of reinvigorated clergy as a meeting place for them in an organization place. Again, she's not well liked by this new clergy, but she has something that they need, which is a house. So.
Now, based on my time with her, what I know is the timely
punctuality was considered incredibly important in the church. It was one of the things that you were always taught. You don't want to be late for your own funeral. The Dark Lady keeps very particular time. She knows exactly when the last second of your life is, and so if you waste any amount of time, you are wasting something that belongs to the Dark Lady. So she was almost anal to how good she was at keeping appointments and showing up on time.
I will make my way back there.
Okay.
And try to find my home. I don't know if anyone is still awake or whatever,
Well, we'll go back to everyone else. For the rest of you guys, I would assume. Well, I guess I'll ask you, Lillian. Did you tell them that you were heading out to meet her, or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I would have.
So you guys would have been aware that Lillian was heading out, and she actually went before dinner. So if one of you wanted to kind of hold a plate for her, that would not be out of the ordinary. She was supposed to be back effectively shortly after dinner would have been over for most people. And when that time runs around, you guys have all had your meal. The meal tonight was, like the rest of the meals you've seen, kind of a thick stew and bread. Filling, flavorful, but not fancy. And after, an hour and a half passes, it's getting to the point where not only is she late, but she is noticeably late. Do you guys want to do anything?
I think Rowan was pretty much. I don't think Rowan would know what to do besides inquire about like, is she normally gone this long on her own?
She can usually handle herself. If it would make you feel better, I could try sending and see if she's okay.
I think it's up to you if you think this is, if she needs it or if she's doing something in regards to taking more time than she thinks she would normally do.
I'll just send her a quick message.
Okay.
Lillian, sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to make sure everything was okay. Your dinner is getting, well, not cold, but I just want to make sure everything's okay.
You hear
You
back.
can reply to this message.
You hear back. Believe it or not, I'm not on a phone. No, as you as you attempt to send it, the way that sending effectively works is you kind of pick a target and then you send it to them. And for the life of you, you can't pick her target. For whatever reason, you cannot get the spell to kind of connect to her.
Mm-hmm. Damn it! It's a new phone. I just updated. I think I lost my number. I can't connect to her.
I'll try and find her.
Could that be because of here and where we're hiding?
This entire plane is just riddled with arcane bullshit. Is the best way I can describe it.
Well, I mean, this place seems to be very well hidden. I'm wondering if they didn't have that kind of countermeasure for perhaps to.
Well, you guys are aware divination magic in general doesn't work in this particular place. But you would have been aware of that, and Vala, to make the sending spell, you would have just stepped outside. There's effectively an anti-divination spell that's been cast on it, and sending is divination. So you would have stepped outside to do that, and that's
I thought sending was. I can never keep that stuff straight.
If it isn't a divination spell, then whatever spell it is also anything that can transmit messages. The spell that has been cast on this place is basically copper mesh. You guys are cut off. There's no cell signals here. They wanted nothing to be able to be usable. Yeah. Everyone goes around in really cool hats.
The arcane version of a lead line box, which is a lead line box.
Effectively, yeah. So yeah, as much as yes, you're 100% right in that, Rowan. That was something that Vala would have known before she started casting the spell. So she would have taken steps.
No, I went outside. I had 5 bars. That wasn't the problem. But I'm wondering if it's possible that where she is it's being blocked, or there's something else going on. But it does make me a little bit more concerned.
I'll try and find her. Argento will get up.
Okay.
Did you tell us where you were gonna meet, or that you're just going out?
I would probably said I was going to be
Alright. Well, I've seen Lillian's shoes before.
Yeah,
so
you've traveled with her for months.
Yeah. So Argento will head out. She'll cast Pass Without Trace.
Okay.
And then try and find her footprint outside and track her.
Sure thing. There are some kind of magical things here, similar to Pass Without a Trace, that makes tracks not really work right next to it. But go ahead and
Yeah.
roll a survival check, and as you go out, you assume you'll eventually find some tracks.
My question is Argenta going out alone, or are we going with Argenta?
That's up to you guys. I think the best thing for everyone to do is everyone go out alone separately. I think that would be the best result of what you guys are
Don't
doing.
think that's not why I am asking this, and Roland's wondering. Like, I'm wondering if we're going to start smelling a lot of charged ozone.
It's up to you guys.
Well, if you're coming with me, we're gonna be going quick.
Vala laces up her shoes.
Okay.
Considering
All right.
the number of people that have gone missing, maybe it's smarter.
17 survival.
Okay. So it takes you the better part of half an hour to find any tracks. It's actually kind of impressive just how far away from the cave you have to be to make tracks.
All right.
But you do eventually find her tracks.
And then I will say I can track creatures at a fast pace.
So as you start going, it takes you another probably about half an hour before you actually get to where you can find her. Because of Pass Without a Trace, Liliane, you do not realize they are coming until they are effectively on top of you. But you guys do find Liliane, like I said, after about another half hour. About roughly about half an hour outside of the hideout. Yes, at that point you were traveling back, and they effectively ambushed you about half an hour from when you would. Yeah. You're the place that you went to meet her is about 2 hours away. So.
It's that sort of thing where we see her like 200 feet away, and it's just like, wait, it'll be funny. Just wait for her to stumble on us.
I start playing the theme from one of those horror movies on my lute.
So yes, you're eventually ambushed by them, kind of in the middle of. This is the most impressive thing about it. You're in the middle of kind of a plain. So there's nowhere they could have hidden, and yet they still were able to get within about 10 feet of you before you realized there were people there. Yeah, that's what it was. So yeah, you guys do find Liliane, and again, it is painfully dark outside. I know without dark vision, you are effectively blind because there is no moon, and the stars themselves are very dim.
Hey, you all right?
I don't know. I mean, I'm alright. But he would never know. And I was happy on my way back. She never knows that not right. I was happy thinking about going to the stadium, but yeah, I have a feeling that she might be not
Hmm. Well, there was something weird that happened. Vala tried to phone you, and apparently you're out of service range.
Oh,
Yes. It was very weird. I don't think I've had that particular problem here before.
what?
Um,
Can you try again? Like, right here?
I
Like,
could.
see if it's an area?
By
Or
the
do you
way,
know
Well,
less? Do you
because
know
you
less?
couldn't
The less.
cast the spell, you didn't use any spell slots.
Okay. Well, I mean, if I try right here, we're right next to each other, so it's really hard. Give me a second, and I will walk like 50 feet away,
Mm-hmm.
and I will try sending again.
Okay. This time connects the way it's supposed to.
Okay.
Oh,
Can you hear me now?
yes.
All right. I'm going to try sending on Lillian's friend.
Ooh.
Shit. Well, again, peeing on the ignition. I haven't quite figured out exactly what happens. You connect. What do you say?
Hi, this is Lillian's friend Vala. I'm. We are a little bit worried. I know you were supposed to meet with her, and you never showed up. We just want to make sure everything is okay. You can reply to this message.
The reply you get doesn't make sense. But the exact words that you get are don't understand. People will know I'm missing. I'm not like these other people. Okay, I'll forget everything I saw, but this is going to cause a lot more problems. And that's it.
I will rush back to the others and relay what I heard. It sounded like I overheard a bit of conversation that they were having with someone else, and that perhaps she stumbled into something and saw something she wasn't supposed to and got taken.
Now, I will mention, Vala, because of your familiarity with the sending spell, you are aware the sending spell doesn't allow you to hear what someone
What
is
they're
saying
thinking.
to someone else. Like it's not like a spying thing. Literally, the only things that you will ever hear are the things that they think back to you.
So yeah, it was as if I was overhearing her, but it's not like a scry or something like that where I can actually listen in on something. It's what they're thinking, and they're thinking as a response.
Could it be she was telling you exactly what what she was telling the people she was possibly talking to? Instead of thinking one thing and trying to say another, and I would imagine that would be very difficult simultaneously.
I mean, that's possible, but I've never had somebody talk in third person like that.
I think the next question is if we think, should we rush to where she lives?
I think so. I
Every
think
time when I was going into anyone, I was looking at see if you wanted to come with me.
If we're going, we should do it now. It sounds like, because if she is talking with some, that means it sounded like she's on the verge of being taken.
Alright, let's go.
Alright.
So, you all start heading into Scornmout. Unfortunately, that is where we're going to have to end it for tonight, because my anxiety is acting up.
Alright.
As always, if you missed any of this, I do upload all these to my YouTube channels, youtube.com/JoJoTrainerJody. Otherwise, that is all for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.